Hello, good evening, Danitza. How are you? Is everything okay?
Hi, Luis. Yes, everything's okay.
Great, that's good to know. Let's begin, please, with today's class. We're going to cover two very simple lessons that we already talked about in the previous class, and we are going to go through our deal with writing. All right? But I don't know if you have any questions, something that you wrote that you want me to check, or anything in general before starting. Let me know, please.
Yes, in the last module, I have around 7 examples to apply with the slides you shared with me, so
Correct?
we can check that.
Okay, you have them still in the previous document, right? Not in the new document that we started on
Yes.
in the previous. Okay, so let me go over there and we check. Good. It must be starting in this specific point. So you tell me you can start reading. We can start with contrast and concession. We're going to see if they work good with those words. But let's begin with those two, please.
Okay. In contrast, his best friend, Mr. Bingley, didn't show any sign of surprise. Jane, the older sister, was completely shocked about the new couple, but she didn't ask Elizabeth to explain her anything. Although the new couple shared their happiness, the groom's aunt wasn't happy at all. She was upset because he, Mr. Darcy, had agreed to marry her daughter.
All right, good. It is correct. Only one detail that I'm going to ask you to change a little bit in the first one. Remember that to be sure that this is used correctly, for me to be sure, if we use in contrast, if we use this contrast in transitional words, we need an idea before, right, to see if this is real contrast or perhaps it is going to be another type of concession. You're giving me more elements afterward, right? In contrast, is that friends or bingo didn't show any sign of surprise, right, Jen? You're adding then extra information to that. But to again to be sure that this is a real contrast showing this after another idea, I need a complete idea before that. Okay, that's the only thing I'm going to ask you, please, Denise. And this is going to happen with transitional words and phrases that are with the usual formula. All right, complete idea, the transitional word, complete idea. It doesn't apply to this because actually here you have the concession and you have the two parts of the concession. Although the new couple shared right their happiness, comma, the groom's aunt wasn't happy at all. So this, in those two parts, you are showing me the two elements that I need to understand that this seems to be concession. All right, so I have no observations over here. And again, this grammatically speaking and in every sense seems to be good, but I really need in this case the previous element to understand why you're saying contrast, right? Because to start with in contrast without anything else before can make me say that this is correct, but I don't know if the transitional word is going to be the best. All right, and just to know to be sure that it is the best, I need one complete idea before. That's one request. I don't know if you have any questions about that because everything else seems to be good. That can be done by next, by our next class. But what do you say, Danita? Do you have any questions? And did you get me why I need the previous idea before that?
No, it's clear.
All right. Okay, so that one, and we're going to be sure that it is great. So far, it seems to be great. Just remember, all right, we need one complete idea before that. Now, let's go to the next one. Also here, but actually, as this has a specific phrase, we don't need something specific. Also here, right, we need something extra. Remember, right, I told you that the examples that we have in this document are not complete because they are only giving us that second idea. All right, so I'm going to ask you the same just by looking at it. It is going to happen the same over here, right? I don't know what's this a consequence for, right? We need another idea before so that we can understand that this word is being used correctly. All right, no problem with the first one because you have a phrase that makes me understand that this decision, all right, is important for this reason. But in this case, we don't have that. Okay, so over here we are also going to need the same. Okay, so I'm going to do the following before we continue. Not correcting, I'm just going to add a comment. All right, let's add. It can be a sentence. All right. All right, so that's going to be the idea. Let's add a sentence for to see if it is being used right correctly. And it is going to be the same over here. All right, so that we'll remember that. All right, but anyway, let's treat these two. Then it's a cause and showing the effects to see if the other elements are good as well.
Okay. Did his decision? Haran decided not to be involved in the main event. As for Mr. Darcy's conception, that would mean not to count on her approval.
All right, and the other one as well, please. Okay, in the meantime, I'm going to be giving some correction for the first one, all right? It seems to be great due to his decision for a phrase. That's why we don't need something else. Actually, it would be great to have something else that is that decision, but it is enough to understand why we're using this, right? That's why we don't need something over here. Her aunt decided not to be involved. Yes, so here this is going to be part of the correction. After decide, we have to use infinitive, right? So that's why not to be is going to be the best idea. But when you say that would mean, or this means that, after this means that, you need a clause. And a clause starts with subject, verb, and optionally a complement, right? And remember, to use a subject, the best option is not going to be the base verb. It's not going to be the infinitive, even though sometimes it's possible, but only for academic situations. The best option is always going to be the gerund. Okay, that's for this part. When you say that would mean that, that would mean that this, if you want to be formal, actually I'm going to copy this here. All right, so that would mean that. That would mean, no, even you don't have a clause, you have directly the activity. So it applies the same logic, all right? It is going to be gerund, not because it is a clause in this case, but because you're mentioning just one activity. But let me see if this is going to make sense, all right? I'm going to read from this part one more time. As for Mr. It says, right, Daisy, conception. But I'm sure I have some questions over here. Perhaps we need here something else. I don't know what you mean by conception. If it's something related to a possession with this, perhaps we're going to need the apostrophe S. I believe that you mean possession over here. All right, that's the case. This is one thing, and this is a phrase. All right. As for this phrase, that would mean this. All right, and you're stating directly one idea. It is possible, subject, verb, and this complement. But again, in this case, as this is an activity directly, it is going to be a gerund. All right, because remember, all activities, when they are mentioned as only activities, they have to be in gerund and not infinitive, or not the base. Yes, okay, for that one. For the second one, I'm going to read it for you, right? Consequently, Mr. Darcy asked for favors to introduce his new family members into society. Fortunately, he arrived. We're going to have new one, but of course you still have to give me right another element after that. I imagine that this is referred or related to the previous idea. It can be. If that's the case, we're going to work this differently, all right? But you're going to let me know. Perhaps I didn't take that into account here or here. But here, this contrast, I don't know if this is a contrast to this idea. If that's the case, you're also going to tell me that. All right, but until you give me the answer, here you're mentioning things in past, right? When you say, fortunately, his friends helped me, right? That's just base form, but it doesn't, right? It doesn't seem that that's the tense that you're using over here. So we have options, right? If this is present, right, and they are helping you, it should be present continuous. If this is past, right, we have two options. Present perfect or simple past, according to what type of precision you're going to show afterwards. But if you use simple past, that's going to be more than enough. But one of those two, right? The base form to say that this is simple present is not going to be a good option for that. So those are my corrections in these two elements. And I don't know if you have questions about that. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions. The last part was something like, fortunately, his friends helped him. No help.
So, okay, good. So him, but also, right? It has to be in past, I imagine, to for the idea that you're saying, right? Or is it in
Yes,
present that you are
it's in
saying that?
past.
Okay, all right. So here we're going to then change that, right? Of course, that's not a correction from my side, but it's something that you're telling me, and there you go. Okay, good. Now, organizing, right? Of course, here also we need, right, something else. But for initial is good. That's the beginning of the idea. Right, for next, we can understand that this is the next part for this one, but we also know that we don't use these so frequently, right? That they have to be separated and well, that's quite it. But I think here we're missing one, right? That is going to be conclusion. We're only missing one, I believe, a Danitza, because it was one for each, right? One for a well, for starting the idea, for organizing by number, one for showing continuation, and one for concluding. So we're missing one. Okay? And it says, right, initially the wedding preparations started with the selection of the chapel. All right. Next, yes, they coordinated the agenda of ministers and army generals. All right. If they are related to one another, again, we don't need anything else. But yes, then we're only missing one thing, that is concluding or summarizing. I'm not wrong, yes, because we finished everything in order to start with the new lesson related to writing on Friday, but it was not possible, so today. But that's it. I have no observations here. We are only missing this, so we have to do two things in general, or three things in general, Danita, right? To give one element before this contrast to understand what this idea is contrasting exactly, right? To do the same with this element over here. And again, you tell me if this is a consequence to this idea, perhaps it is. I'm not taking that into account. You tell me if that's the case, we don't need anything over there, but we're going to see if there's consequence between this example and this example. If there is, and it is obvious, then we don't need to add anything else. And we need one more thing with concluding or summarizing. Again, you can mention something that goes with this idea, or something else, but if you give me something else, you need first one complete idea, then this transitional word, and you give me the example then. I don't know if you have questions about that, or if you want to clarify something about the details I was mentioning, Anita. Let me know, please.
Yes, the ideas are related. I mean, it's like a part of the story. So,
all right. Good. So it means that this, in contrast, is related to this idea over here, right? That we checked many days ago, right?
yes.
All right. Okay, so if that's the case, let's just take a look. All right, let's read together to see if it is going to make sense. So, right, her sisters noticed, right, a certain rudeness in her treatment whenever they interacted. Furthermore, she has also expressed her disagreement with his views on politics, arts, literacy, pride, and prejudice. All right. In contrast, his best friends. Okay, yes, I believe that it can be mentioned in a certain way. Mhm. And then whose best friend is this, Danitza? When you say his, who's that his?
Hmm.
Perhaps
He's
it is you.
friend of both, but here I was thinking about Mr. Darcy's friends specifically.
Okay, but are we mentioning that person before in any of these parts before? I
No,
believe
I don't
here we have
remember.
he. When he is this related to the person she loves or the father that you were mentioning here? Is that he one of those?
No, sorry, no.
No, right? So again, I'm just asking because why? In a certain way, right? This is good again because you are adapting, you are using information from right, well, a narration that you have over there, but uh, again, we need then some other type of details because we are saying this his, but we don't know exactly right what this is even before, right? That's why again this can work as a contrast, but it is a contrast that would be not that complete because we don't have right this element, because it seems that now the contrast that you're showing is the contrast to this person, or at least it should have been mentioned before, right? In contrast, his best friend, this person didn't show any sign of purpose, but or of surprise, or any sign of surprise, right? Yes, okay, just that. Again, right? I'm not going to be picky over here because, of course, I believe that examples are great. The way we're organized and everything is good. But just in the sense, right, of how logical they have to be, geologically they have to be connected, and to be sure that we have every detail to understand that this is the best word, right? So we imagine that this was part, right, of something that was mentioned even before these examples that you mentioned over here, and that being the case, it is going to be correct, of course, right? This is just something because it was not clear with the previous AD. But yes, then you have already accomplished your happiness. The Crown's aunt wasn't happy at all. And also, I imagine over there, right here, you're talking about that new couple. Okay, so yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Not counting on her approval. And this is the consequence of this element that you mentioned over there. All right, so that being the case is good. Again, that's the only part that was a little bit off for me. But if it's related to that, and we have that information that is not explicitly mentioned, but it is part of the real story, we imagine that having all the elements together over there, everything should be right clearer. But that's it. Again, then the only thing we have to do is not this anymore. I'm going to mark them as results. Okay. So only one thing is missing then that is going to be the concluding or summarizing transitional word or term. And with that, we are done. That would be it. I don't know again if you have any final questions or comments so that we can go to the lessons we got for today and well, the extra lesson related to writing.
No, I don't have questions about this. But let me say this. I have a situation about our last agreement about the percentage about the course.
Okay.
Yes. Well, today my boss asked me to join another team to help them with a report that has been rejected because has a lot of mistakes. And I mean, that's for me is like another project. And now I have like 3 projects. And oh my God, this is going to, I know, demand a lot of time. Yeah, because she put me like the coordinator of that new project, and I know that I'm not going to be able to how can I say that expose or present um, the writing and speaking and the presentation. I mean, I don't have enough time right now, and now I am already late to do a
All
lot of
right.
things.
Oh, no, it's good. Try to do your best to present that, but again, that's not going to be evaluated then. All right, that's going to be something extra. If you have the time to present that by the end of our course, do it. If you cannot, again, we can be in touch and you can show that to me. And I'm going to check that even as something extra. All right, it's still going to be part of this course, let's say, but I'm not going to be evaluating that. But again, as according to what I'm understanding, and you let me know if it's correct, then it will be for you then just to focus all the let's say the
The
percent,
grade, the
right?
score.
All the exactly on Pearson, right?
Yes, please.
No problem. It is good. Remember, again, this is something extra. And you're not losing that. You still have the chance, right? Remember, we're going to be in touch. We know we're going to be in touch, right? So you're going to show me that afterwards when you have the time, and I'm still going to help you with that. All right, but that's going to be extra. If you get to finish one or two, right, of those extra assignments by the end of the course, do it. If not, it is not going to be something that I'm going to be asking as obligation. But again, it's something that you will have to do on your own in case you want to.
Okay, thank you.
All right.
Very.
Yes, you're welcome. No worries. Don't be sad. I think you're a little bit tired. Are you with some emotions right now? Or are you happy because you have that new project?
No, I am upset. I'm
Are you sad?
very sad and upset and angry. I'm
Okay,
very
yes.
silly.
I know. Come on, don't be like that. All right. Also, we're going to finish very soon. You're going to have more time to breathe, right? And perhaps you're going to go out, you're going to dance. I don't know,
Mm,
right?
I
We have
don't think so.
yeah, come on. We have
Okay.
to, yes, because you have to do it. If not, it's not good, right? It's not good for your health. You have to look yourself some extra time just to breathe. Those things happen. And that's why also I try to look for jobs when I'm not that close to people that are telling me what to do. But sometimes it is not something that you choose, right? It's just something that you have. And well, the thing is that I get it. I hope you have the time, all right? Not now, perhaps in the future, just for you. And well, I'm sorry about that, Denise. But again, don't worry, all right? Just try to focus, try to look for some time to work on Pearson little by little. You still have all this time. You still have, right, less to do on Pearson. I'm not going to change that. You have less to do on Pearson. But be sure that you're going to be taking advantage of what we're going to be doing in class. All right?
Okay, thank you.
All right. You're welcome. Come on, don't be sad. Don't be upset, please.
Okay.
I mean, it's okay. You have to express it. If you don't express it, if you say it for you, is worse. So you can express it with me, okay? If you want, you can tell me things angrily. You can scream at me if you want. Okay? But let's begin with what we have to do. It's very, very easy. Uh, Danitza, I'm first going to share the new link. You have it, right? It's part of the course we are in. It is over there. Why? Because actually, and perhaps we're not even going to write examples, but I believe that it's going to be a review. It is something that you know, but let's see if you know everything so that we don't need to practice. Wish, how much do you know about it, Danny? So what can you tell me about Wish?
Wish. Well, I know that you can express something you wish you want, something like that, in present, in future, in past. Yes, you can also wish be able to do something. Yes, those.
It is correct. Yes, we can express this in many different tenses, and we can also talk about ability with wish. How can you give me if I ask you a present wish? Actually, you can ask, right? Yeah, because of the situation you're in. What is a wish that you have now that the present, right? A present wish. How can you express a present wish for me, right? Or for this situation?
I wish I have more time.
Okay, but that what's the verb? Can you repeat the verb one more time, please?
I wish I had just a little more time.
Okay, that's that's 80% correct. But the
Oh,
verb
of course.
using have is incorrect. Had,
With
right? Okay. Yes. I wish I had more time. Yes, correct. How much time do you need?
I don't know.
Do you have a 30-hour day or something like that? Do you want the day to be longer?
The
Do you
month.
want longer weekends? What?
I need the month to be like you I need the month to be more longer the month because my lines, my deadlines will not be changed for either of my projects or none of them. So I'm really late.
So when's the deadline for this new project also that you got?
Um, mm, well, mm, uh, Thursday 31, 2, and the last one is for Saturday 11, November. So I'm
All right, so you have a
on
lot of
time.
Oh, okay. Well, yes. So you wish that you had more time, right? Or you wish that the months were longer. You can also
Yes,
say,
one longer. That sounds very good.
right? Okay. Okay. Good. What about a past wish? Something in the past that, of course, you cannot change, but you wish about that past. What is anything that comes to your mind?
Nothing comes. I don't know. I wish I had mm, mm, chosen another option. Other option.
Okay. All right. That's a good wish. So you wish you had chosen, right, another or a different job, right, when you had the opportunity in the past.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yes, you have to express, right? You have to take advantage that it's good. Right? No, you have to express it. Actually, I want you to express that. I don't want you to be like that. Okay, so be man. Here you can talk about your job. You can talk about your boss. I'm not going to tell anybody. All right?
Only be recorded, nothing more, nothing less.
It's only recorded. Ah, yes, it is recorded online. So. Yeah. But come on, I don't know if your boss is going to look for A12 2 out of 8. I don't know, something like that. I don't think so. And we don't have
No.
tags unless you add a tag. Unless also they are using algorithms that are going to make this related to our names or to something else. At least the program doesn't edit those elements, but I don't believe that's something. Or what do you say? Do you know about that, Danitza? Do you know that
Mm,
videos that are uploaded that create automatic references without you activating them or allowing the platform to do that for you?
mm, I know that you can do it whatever you want right now with IAs, but I nothing specifically, not, not a specific program. Yes.
Okay. All right. But I mean, if this is what we're streaming, right, on YouTube, this is
Mm,
automatically uploaded into your channel, right?
mhm.
That it has a very specific name, and this name is just a code, right? If I'm not wrong, the only code is the course that is 812 plus the number of the class, right? 2 out of 8 or something like that. That's the only reference. I don't know if they add a description or anything like that even. I don't know. I'm talking about the way in which this video can be found. I believe that those are the only elements unless you add tags and other details, but manually, right? Or what other things do you know? Again, this is just a way of conversation, right? Or do you know any other ways that are generated automatically so that people can look for videos online and find them without the person manually adding a description or a title that can be easily found? What do you say? Do you know about that?
No, 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 not really. I think so. No.
According to what I know, then we don't have anything else that is going to make your boss find this. So you can do it, all right? Give me sentences about your boss if you want. I don't think this is going to be found, all right? At least not soon, perhaps in 20 years. But then you're going to be working at a different place, right? So it's good, you're safe. Now, one more, Dennis, about ability. Okay, about ability. What wish can you give me about an ability, something that you want to do, right? But actually you cannot, but you give me the wish. Or the opposite, or for someone else. What do you say? Anything that comes to your mind related to wish with ability.
I wish she could um, uh, learn.
She could, one more time, please. The verb was not clear.
I wish she could learn more often, new things more often.
Okay, yes, it's good. I wish she could learn new things more often. Right? Of course, that can be yours, that can be someone else's, right? Wish, but it is good. Okay, so it is easy again. I believe that we don't have to practice this. I'm just verifying, and I have to cover this at least briefly as part of the program. All right, but I'm not going to cover anything else than just this. All right, I'm going to cover one more thing briefly, and then we go to our lesson of writing. But again, you know that a present wish is expressed in the simple past, but it is not simple past. It is just the subjunctive way of expressing this present idea, right? Present wish. I wish I had more money. She wishes, sorry, she were a millionaire or millionaire. They wish the government worried more about the city. I wish I didn't have to go to school. Right? Affirmative or negative, it is correct. With which we know that the verb to be, if we want it to be formal, is always going to be were because that's the subjunctive form of be, right? But if we say was is not incorrect, but again, in international tests, perhaps it is expected that where is the best option. past perfect. You know that. You gave me the example. I wish I had had more money last year. She wishes that she had been millionaire when she was younger. They wish the government had worried more about the city in 2020. I wish that I hadn't had to go to school yesterday. Right? Future quotation marks, because actually would is not used exactly for a future, but for wishes related to someone else, right? To wish that the behavior, right, of someone else could change, right? I wish that you would stop smoking, right? You wish that for the future to be different. She wishes that he would show more affection. Again, about a desire, right? About you wanting someone else to have a different attitude, a different type of behavior in the future. I wish she would answer my messages. All right. And again, that's something that can change for the future. It can remain the same. The idea is that you're having that wish. And ability, this is also something you mentioned, right? We could, always we could, never we can. I wish that you could run faster. She wishes that she could speak French. I wish that he could drive a truck to help us with the merchandise. All right? And that's it. I want to put it for you. All right, this time, just for today. But that's it. I don't know if you have any questions about that. If you feel, again, perhaps, and again, you want to practice this, but you tell me if you want to practice here with me because there's something specific that you want me to help you with. I believe there's not, but let me know so that we can go to the next lesson. What do you say?
Yes, I have a question, but it's hypothetical, something like that. Here we have present, past, and future. It is, I don't know, I don't have an example, but it's possible to apply this kind of examples with another time tenses.
In general, no. Why? Because if it is present, it is always going to be in past. But even, and it's about a situation that is not taking place right now. It's about general situations. That's why we use simple tenses in the case of the present, simple present, right? It is going to be stated with simple past. Okay, but it's not directly related to, let me think. If you say, um, I'm having a lot of meetings right now, I wish that I weren't having a lot of meetings right now. It is perhaps possible, but I haven't heard those types of wishes, Danitza, and I haven't already seen them as part of general examples in books. For example, I'm talking about the present continuous and the wish in the past continuous. All right, I wish that you weren't, right, meeting this often these days. Perhaps it can be possible again, but in grammar, in terms of the general rules that they have for grammar, these are the only tenses that are stated as the ones that are grammatically correct. All right. For example, the ones that I know that you cannot use here, and it says the present, just the present. You cannot use wish with present. You use hope. If you want to talk about real present and real future, you have to use hope. Okay, with the present continuous, with the present perfect, with the simple present, with the simple future, you use a hope. All right, even can. All right, I hope that you can do it better this time. All right, with hope, that's going to be the case. But here you have that limitation. You don't use this with simple present or with the present continuous. You don't use this with present perfect. All right, you don't use this with will. You don't use this with can, or you don't use this with things that actually refer to present directly. just the subjunctive way of those forms that are the simple past, the past perfect, would, and could. All right, that's what I can tell you in general. Vanessa, perhaps it's not a very specific or concrete response, but I'm mentioning what are the limits that you have over here and what's the alternative, hope, in case you want to use present tenses and future real tenses. All right, I don't know if that helps or if you have any other questions. Let me know, please.
No, it's okay. Thank you.
All right, good. Let's go then to the next one. All right, and the next one is this one. We already talked about that. So again, I'm not going to ask you questions because we know this. I know that you know. You explained that to me in the previous class as we were assigning everything, right, as everything was being set. You explained this to me. The past and real condition, right? We know that we all have this, and actually, I'm just going to ask you examples one more time. All right, so we know that it says, right, the question, have you ever wished that something in the past had happened in a different way? Yes, right, we all have. What would you have done if you had been in Europe last year? I'm not going to ask you that question, but we know that this question is in the past unreal conditional. Okay, I would have done this if I had been in Europe last year. Right, we know that again. So in order to go straight to the practice, which is a couple of examples, what can you tell me, right? What can you express now, Vanessa, with the past and real condition? Right, it's better again if it's a real life situation. One idea that contains positive, all right, hypothesis, and one idea that contains negative hypothesis. All right, I mean, for example, I would have done this if I had done that, or I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't done this, or it can be mixed. All right, but the idea is that we use different statements, affirmative, negative. Just two examples. What do you see? What comes to your mind? Give me the first one, we're going to check, and then the second.
I got one. If I had arrived earlier,
Yes.
I will have met him.
One more time, please. I would.
I will have. I think it's met. It's regular, irregular. Meet. Right? Like
meet. Are you talking about meet? MEET, that verb?
Yes, I guess something like that.
Yes, exactly. It's repeated. Meet, met.
Yes, met.
All right. So you would have. What is the result of that one?
If I started with the if, but I can say sorry. I will have met him if I had arrived earlier, something like that. Yes.
Okay, I would have met you if I would have arrived earlier, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Yes, it is possible. Or it can be, right? I wouldn't have met you if I hadn't arrived earlier, right? And that also applies, right? Of course, both are correct. It depends on the context and the idea that you want to be. But yes, it is correct, grammatically speaking, and it makes sense. It does. Just one more, please, Denise. I'm going to make you suffer with just one.
Okay.
Okay? Please.
Um, I wouldn't have choose those keys if I had known those. I don't know if I have known those were belong to them. I don't know, something like that.
Wait, the second part is not that clear for me. One more time. You said I wouldn't or I would in the
I
affirmative to the first
wouldn't.
part? I wouldn't, right? I have chosen, right?
Chosen, yes.
Those keys.
If I had
No.
known, I don't know if any those belong to them.
Okay, all right, could be, but what do you mean? Because if you say chosen the keys, how in what situation can you choose keys that belong to someone else, or you got confused and you got someone else's keys that were part of a I don't know keys hanger or something like that, something like that, right? All right, okay, it's good. It's good, all right, but I needed to understand how was that possible, but it is. All right. There you go. Okay, don't suffer, please, Danny. So that's it. I'm not going to ask for more examples because you know that one. And again, you can practice this anytime you want. Just remember the logic, right? This is for situations. I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to organize this with you. But situations in the past, right? And results that never happened. Okay, that's the idea of using these elements over here. And then we use if, past perfect, comma, perfect model, right? Or it can be inverted. Perfect model, if, past perfect, right? We know that. We don't need to go further in that sense. I'm going to read examples for you. All right. If I had studied harder, I could have passed the test. Right? But the reality is always in the past, and the reality is always opposite to our hypothesis, right? So reality is I didn't study harder, so I couldn't pass the test, right? Now, our hypothesis or idea for the past that is not true. If I had not gone out during the lockdown, I would not have gotten infected. Reality, I went out during the lockdown, so I got infected, right? Unfortunately. If she had accepted the offer, she might have saved up what was needed. Reality, the opposite, of course. She didn't accept the offer, so she didn't save up what was needed. Right? That's it. Inversion is exactly the same. I'm going to read this again. We are just changing, right, the places of the independent clause and the dependent clause, right, or the conditional clause, the result clause. And here, this is the advanced inversion. I believe that I mentioned this with you once. Then if I didn't, you have that now here. The standard order is if I had studied for the test, I would have gotten a better score. In the inversion, we don't use if, but in the conditional clause, we use the inversion with the auxiliary. And we say, had I studied for the test, comma, I would have gotten a better score. And this is what we call advanced inversion. It is good. It shows that you know about the language. It can be fancy. It's used in some situations that can be formal, but it is just an alternative. All right, it is just another way to state the same idea. There's no difference between this element over here and this element over here. But that's it. That's what I wanted to show you. This is something that you just can practice as, again, something extra, something additional. But that's it for me. I don't know if you have any questions, because now I would like to take advantage and try to use at least 5 tops 10 minutes, no more than that, because we started all right, kind of earlier today was a miracle. And we're going to be finishing in 5, again, tops 10 minutes, no more than that. Do you have any questions here? Not always related to the topic, but perhaps something else came to your mind. Let me know, please.
No, I don't have questions.
All right. Okay, so we're going to work briefly on the introduction of something that I believe is going to be perhaps the most useful thing we can do in these last days. All right. Let me open this for you. Totally. I'm going to take advantage. I'm going to organize everything, just a couple of words, and that's it. Right? Not everything is going to be well organized, because I'm just changing the design. I don't want it to be a square, all right, because people are going to think that I'm old. Even I'm using PowerPoint, right? So I'm old because of that. I love Genially, but I need some time to try to, well, to use these elements in Genially. I use Genially for everything except for these presentations, because I have them ready for so many years, and to me it's going to be just another thing changing this into the new format. Okay, that's why they are just as simple as this. But again, I'm making a comment so that you don't get so angry, all right? So this is just the introduction. And this is an introduction for something, again, that right now is not going to ask us to do anything specific. But again, it's something that you also practice with me, at least the introduction. That is, again, the template, right, to write argumentative persuasive essays. But I was not, right, asking details about that when I asked for the first time to write. I believe that it was the introduction and the starting of the first body paragraph. All right. But now I'm going to be very picky and very precise with all those steps, because again, if you get to write this essay using this specific template, I believe that it's always going to be a plus. Why? Because it is going to be even more and more detailed than the templates that you were showing me. Why? Because the templates that you were showing me were for the TOEFL, and that's great. That's your objective. I know that that's your objective. But I know also that if you're taking the TOEFL, it's because you want to study abroad. And abroad, you need to write this type of essays and this type of papers, not only for university, it is also good for what you call application essays. All right, that for some universities are a requirement. And if you have this, again, it's going to be an advantage. All right, just in case you disappear after the course finishes. I'm going to leave you with these elements. Okay, and what we're going to do again is first, this is an essay, a short piece of writing on a particular subject. But I really need you to know and understand the difference between these 4 main types of essay and why we're going to be talking about the argumentative only. And perhaps also we read this for you when I was trying to show you the essays, but I don't know. Let me know. Did we check this information with you before, Denisa?
No.
No, right? It's just that I checked this many times as it was part of the writing course that I mentioned to you. Remember that you're in that course now. So let's check this. I'm going to ask you please to read everything that you see over here, Denisa. The essay type, the skills tested, and the example prompt to understand that. And I'm going to show the difference between the 4 of them.
Okay. Argumentative. Forming an opinion via research. Building an evidence-based argument. Um, Has the rise of the internet had a positive or negative impact on education? Pository knowledge of the topic, communicating information clearly. Explain how the invention of the printing press changed European society in the 15th century. Create language use presenting accompany narrative. Write about an experience where you learn something about yourself. Descriptive, create language use, describing sensory things. Describe an object that has sentimental value for you.
Now, so easily we can understand why the first one is going to be the more academic and scientific from all of them, right? It can be easily recognized because this is formed not via research only, but it is one main way of doing it and building an evidence-based argument. Okay, so this is strong. That's why the first one is used at universities, all right, colleges, institutes, places in which you have to show that you have the knowledge, that you know how to use someone else's scientific production, right, that you know how to use that information to support your idea. And if you analyze again, this is what most people have to practice when they are learning writing, at least in English. This is the type of essay you get to practice and to learn. Because you always have questions like this, right? Has the rise of the internet had a positive or negative impact on the education? And actually, that reply, right, that response, Anita, is always your thesis statement in your introduction, right? It is always going to be your thesis statement. That's why, right, it's important to recognize the internet as a positive, right? It's important to recognize that the internet has positive impact on education, and we should implement, right, its usage, or I don't know, right, whatever you want to implement related to the internet on education. Or not necessarily, right, answering this question directly, but your thesis statement is going to give a proposition using the logic of the internet being positive or being negative on education. Right? And again, that's how I believe you get questions that expository is close to what you do in the integrated essay for the TOEFL. Because even though it's not directly the same, all right, you are going to work with this. You're going to explain, for example, a specific topic, but from two different perspectives, right? For example, it can be explain how education or how the technology has a very big impact on education according to what the lecturer said, and contrasting those ideas with what you read on the reading excerpt or passage, right? So you're going to show that information. Okay, you don't necessarily, you don't need knowledge in that topic because you're going to get, in the case of the TOEFL, you're going to get that knowledge from the lecturer and from the reading passage. Okay, but again, the idea is that you can clearly communicate what he is saying or she is saying and what the reading is saying, and you communicate that idea, right? That's why the expository is closer to what the knowledge, what the TOEFL asks you, and also the first one. Okay, and this is related to the second one, but it's more personal. The difference is that argumentative essays can also be persuasive essays, and they can be very scientific and very academic, as the one you're seeing described over here, or they can be simply in order, or right, they can be used in order to convince people to an idea that you got. And in case you don't have access to the media to do some research, as in the TOEFL, you have to use real life information. You have to be convincing using personal information. But that task for the TOEFL uses also this structure in a certain way. So these are the two that you have to know very well. All right, but again, the first one is the most important. the one that is going to be useful in many different situations, not only for the test. All right. The other two now are great, but they are very personal and they are not related to something that you exactly need to do, not even the TOEFL or other tests. Narrative is good, but you're going to tell an experience about something, right? About something that you learned, about your trip. I don't know, you tell something, and it's going to be just you, again, telling a story. And the scripted is just close to the expository, but the scripted is even more concrete. You have to describe, for example, an object, as you can see over there, or a very specific situation, but it's not as profound as the one in expository, because here you need to have information about that topic. But here, it's mainly about these sensory details. Okay, so you can superficially describe the situation, or usually you're going to describe a person only, or an object, or an animal, or something like that. Okay, but that's it. That's the main difference that has to be clear, and you need to know what is the structure that you have to use for the TOEFL when you are asked a question like this, right? Is it better this or is it better that? So you have to argument, you have to persuade, right? You don't have the opportunity to do research. You're not going to use evidence-based arguments, unfortunately, but that's why you're going to base all your ideas on your experience and convincing ideas that are logical and they have common sense, of course. Right? And expository again is just using the information that you get over there. But that's it. I don't know if you have questions about that because again, even though this is just theory, Anissa, I'm showing you this because you have to know what's the real type of essays that you're using on the TOEFL and the one that we're going to be practicing with me in this last course. All right. If you get to have any questions, let me know. I'm going to keep going. We're not going to read this because we have a very specific part because also it is also like this. It's not good, but we are going to cover three specific presentations: one for the introduction, one for the body paragraphs, and one for the conclusion. All right. This is an idea on an outline that you can apply, but I'm also going to give you another idea on an outline that is going to be more specific to the argumentative essay that you want to work with. All right, and we're going to go to the specific. Now, for me, this is going to be the last thing we're going to do. I just wanted to introduce you to that idea. Now, I'm going to ask you just a couple of questions. All right, and with that, we're going to finish. But I don't know if you have any questions for me or any questions about this short introduction to what we're going to be doing. So let me know, please.
I don't have questions, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Also,
You're not sure of what?
about I mean the differences. I practice with the TOEFL. I know they I know sell the book, the program to practice. Yes, and it's just like tricky to follow a structure. And I mean the program I'm gonna say did not well, in my case I mean I read the book also, but I have problems to identify or search because let me see. I think I got confused when I read, and I don't know. I know that are in the let me see this. When they give you your instructions, you can realize why they are asking. But I have problems.
Okay. All right, identifying what exactly you have to do. Are you talking about just in this case about the writing part, or what in general?
In general.
In general, okay. But how familiar are you with the TOEFL test as a test?
uh,
From
Three.
1 to 10, 3.
Yes, I would say
Okay,
that.
yes, but that's fine. I imagine in the preparation course they are going to give you lots of different templates, but you're going to see actually that there's a pattern. And once the pattern is clear for you, it is going to be great. Okay, but now I'm not going to focus on all the skills just to give you an answer today. And instead just in the writing. Okay?
Okay.
In the writing, two elements are very important. Okay, two elements. The integrated, right, writing task, and I'm not sure the name that the other one has, but it's something close to a personal writing task. All right, something
Okay.
close to that. Do you have the name of the second one?
I think it's personal something.
It's
I
close
just
to that,
uh,
right? But those two, we know what we're talking about, right? So okay, the only thing that you have to understand is that your job in the integrated writing task is not to give your opinion, right? Your opinion is not relevant over there. It doesn't matter that you agree with the lecturer. It doesn't matter that you agree with the reading passage. Your job there is always, and it doesn't matter if you take the TOEFL tomorrow or in 2 months or in 1 year. I don't believe they're going to change. There have been some changes, but the essence is always been there. Your job is to expose, in that case, to present that information in the way it is presented to you. That's the only thing you have to do. And that's why this second one is for the integrated, right? And again, actually, once that is clear for you, you know what you have to do, even without reading the instructions in that specific test. Of course, you're going to do it just in case, right? But you know that when you get to the integrated task for writing, you are going to be listening to a lecture or to a seminar or to a workshop, right, or to a speech, to anything that includes a person speaking, and you're going to read something about the same topic, right? But they are going to be opposite, usually. All right. Some people told me I'm not sure they can be also complementary, but I believe that's only going to happen in the speaking, in one of the speaking tasks. Okay, because in the speaking you also have the integrated, right? You have the personal response and you have the integrated, in which you have to also integrate ideas from two different speakers, right? And sometimes in that case, I believe they can complement one another or they can contrast. All right. Perhaps I'm confusing the idea with that, but if I'm not wrong, in the writing integrated task, they are always going to contrast. But again, it's going to be the same. In case they don't contrast and they complement, your job is going to be the same, just to present the ideas that they show. Right? Your introduction in that essay is going to be the introduction of that topic, right? And you're going to present also where you're getting the sources from the lecturer, from the speaker, from that specific guy. Perhaps you have the name of the expert, and from this document. You're going to have a document that you can call an article, that you can call a paper, that you can call just a passage, an excerpt, or how you can call it in many ways. That's also something they are going to teach you in the prep course. You have to name that in different ways in order not to repeat. Why? Because you're going to be saying that along the essay, right? But again, your only job is going to be saying, this is the topic, he said that about that, but the lecture, or sorry, the reading passage says this. Right? First, it was said by this guy that this is important because of this and that. However, right in the reading passage, we find that it is in fact right that it is like this actually, right? The opposite, right? The lecturer also talked about this other topic, and he says that this is not as important, right? Nonetheless, or in contrast, right, we find in the reading that because of this and that, it is important. It is really important. And again, so on and so forth, right? So again, the only thing, and just to finish, and you're going to tell me if you have comments on that, your job on the integrated task for writing is just to inform everything, as if you were a professional reporter, right? A professional um, informing, right? Just what you are seeing and hearing over there, but you're not giving your personal opinion, right? Again, you have to pretend that you're a reporter. A reporter is supposed to be unbiased, right? Neutral. That is not going to be placing himself or herself in anybody's side. And you're not going to say the lecturer says this, but according to me, I believe that it's not true, right? So you're not going to say that. But that's something that you're going to do in the argumentative essay, because this argumentative essay in the TOEFL that is the personal task, right? The one that you develop with only one question, and you don't have information that is going to help you. You only have one question, and you have to pick one option, and you have to defend that option throughout the entire essay. Now, the big difference between those tasks in writing, Danitza, is that here we don't care about your opinion. You don't have to say your opinion. But here, your opinion is absolutely everything. Why? Because based on what you believe, if you believe that as the rise of the internet had a positive or negative impact, you believe that it has had a positive impact. That's your opinion. Now, the entire essay is just for you to convince the reader that you're right. Right? You can say, even though you can start with your idea with that, right? Even though we know that there are negative, right, elements about using the internet on education as this and that, at the end, right, or in this case, in the end, it is going to be better for that conclusion. In the end, we have to accept that it has brought more, right, positive elements to education than negative ones. And that's why I believe that in general, the internet has had a positive impact on education. And then you start your two body paragraphs basing everything on things that you remember. If you remember a fact, you mention a fact. If you have an example, you mentioned the example, how people now are better and have access, right, to all the information that helps education in general, and blah, blah, blah. All right, but here, your opinion is important, your personal experience, the experience of one of your best friends, or of experts around you. Sometimes that's going to be even stronger experts, something that you read that you remember in a certain way, right? In this article, they mention that it is positive because of this and that. Okay, so again, here the only thing that I'm transmitting, Danitza, is that those two are very, very opposite things that you have to do, and it has to be clear for you. Here again, you don't have information, you are not reporting anything. Here, you're not a reporter, all right? You are more of a journalist, an independent journalist, all right? And you have your column on a newspaper, and you are talking about an interesting topic, but you're going to show your opinion on that because you are the expert actually, and you have to convince readers that you are right with an idea that you have in mind. Okay, but that's it. Once you have that in mind, it is always going to be like that. It doesn't matter what's the lecture and the reading about. It's always going to be your job to inform, to show what they said. He said that, but he said that. They mentioned that, but they believe that it's not important. Right? And at the end, you say the conclusions, but again, always just informing and presenting what you were given. Okay, but again, here you have total freedom of convincing the reader in the way that you want. That's it. I extended myself more than I wanted. I'm finishing with that. I don't know if you have any last details before finishing now, then. So let me know, please.
No, thank you, Jose Luis.
All right, there you go. So again, this is just very general because on the next class, we are going to start taking a look at the first presentation that is about only about the introduction. You know about that because you worked that introduction with me already, and so it's going to be remembering. But once the introduction is ready and you have something strong, concrete, and ready to to be your first pillar in your essay, the rest of it is just going to be to complement that idea. But again, following the steps and actually you memorizing this template is going to be a big plus for this argumentative essay that you're going to have in the TOEFL. Why? Because even though you're going to be taught another template, you can also use mine in case you decide and you want to use a fact. All right, and in case you want to be more formal in one of the paragraphs that you're writing in the TOEFL, but all right, any of that situation could be, it's going to be. I'm finishing with that. All right, I'm sharing the poll for today that you can see over there. Thanks for being here with me. I know it's late, and I know again that you're tired and with a lot of emotions over there. I hope that you feel better soon. All right, I know that this is going to be a long journey for you and your project, but I hope everything gets well. All right, and again, don't forget to get some time for you. Don't wait until it's too late, right? You know, our head is way weaker than we think, and our mind also. And it's worse than having an accident. Yes, so don't wait until your brain explodes because there's no coming back for that. All right, so don't get so stressed. Yeah, I'm being serious with that. I work with mental health. All right, and in some situations, the stress and all those things are always risky situations. All right, and people sometimes they don't take that seriously. They just push themselves with a lot of stress and anxiety and all those things. But again, if you don't really take care of yourself, and I don't say those things to you, someone has to do it. Okay, and because there are more cases than people think around. And again, it can be serious. It's always serious. So you also have to be serious with your health. And if you feel pressure with something and that's a type of job that is really not for you, try to finish with those projects, try to look for something else. But pressure is always going to be there. Stress is always going to be there. It's normal. Stress is normal, right? But this stress is different. And when you get to a situation in which you cannot control those elements and you are feeling more negative things than positive things in your daily life, then that's a negative sign. All right. So again, I'm saying that in order, yes, to scare you. All right. But it is true. You have to be careful with your mind, with your brain. It is something that we have to take care of. Okay. That's my job. I also work as a neuropsychologist, so I have to tell you that. All right.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. No, you're welcome. So then again, have a good night. I hope this is going to be good for you for resting, and tomorrow you can have a different way of seeing things. Perhaps you're going to look for a way of organizing yourself. And sometimes it's just a good night that we need. Sometimes it's more, but let's wait that it helps. All right. So I'll see you on Wednesday, Anita.
See you Wednesday.
Bye bye.
Bye.